Hey guys, it's Logan here with Hydra 572. We haven't done an unboxing in a long time, but I'm pretty excited about this one. I've got 3 Opinel number 8s here, and these are the first knives that we've ever bought that we're going to use pretty much exclusively for testing that we're going to record. I have a couple of ideas for things I want to get done tonight. Mostly I just want to get them out of the box. We'll do some initial really subjective sharpness testing, and I'll take some measurements with the calipers, and I'll give these some markings so that we've got them numbered. We can keep straight which knife has done what amount of cutting. I'll do pretty much the same amount of cutting with each knife here tonight. So, started. So I've never actually had an Opinel before. I've looked at them. I think they're pretty interesting, sort of like the Mora knives. They're a low cost, high utility, pretty simple design. It's a pretty classic blade. Interesting lock, I think they call it a vibro lock. It's just a rotating ring. It'll keep the knife from closing. These have the carbon steel blades, so we'll have to keep these oiled. We'll probably record what we're doing to prevent corrosion as well. And it's a pretty simple coffin design handle, and this is sort of their flagship knife, I believe, and it's a pretty simple EDC cutter size. So we've tested performance of knives on our channel before. I remember the Cold Steel Voyager videos were pretty popular. We've done Leatherman usage videos, and we've gotten good mileage out of those videos, and we've enjoyed making them. But with these knives, we're going to start a trend toward being more consistent, more methodical, and more analytical in our performance testing. So I'm going to go ahead and mark them with their numbers now. I think in the future we'll use an engraving pen on the blades themselves, something like that. But for now, this will be permanent enough. So we are number 1. Two. There's 3. So now we're going to use a digital caliper. We're going to measure the thickness of the blades right here, right in front of the vibro lock. So we're going to take some millimeter measurements. Bring the tip of the caliper right down to the cutting edge. Number 1 measures 1.64 millimeters. These would be good to start with. Number 2 measures 1.65 millimeters. Number 3 measures 1.61 millimeters. Now we're going to do some initial sharpness testing. We're just going to do some paper cutting. This is just standard printer paper. I'm going to do 3 11-inch cuts with each knife. It's a very subjective test, but it's one that we've used a lot before. I'd say it's pretty standard. Not extremely reproducible. There's a lot that you can't necessarily control about how you bring the knife in to engage. So for example, a lot of times when I begin the cut, I'll introduce some angle like this rather than bringing the knife in exactly flush. But we'll go ahead and get started making some cuts. We'll see how these things are. There's one cut. actually not quite as sharp as I was expecting. It is a nice blade profile, but it's not extremely well polished edge, I don't believe. So there's 3 cuts done. Number 1. Move on to number 2. I would say either I'm getting back into the hang cutting paper, or number 2 was a little sharper than number 1. As I said at the outset, this is a really subjective test. It's one that we've done before, but honestly, being behind the log for the first time in a couple months and being cutting paper for the first time in weeks, it's not the most reproducible test. It is. Tear there at the end, unfortunately. It is documented though. It is with a standardized material, and it gives us something to begin improving on. So there you guys saw, those were some pretty terrible technique cuts. I wasn't the most dexterous, but I would say number 2 was by far our sharpest. I'll see if I can feel that just touching around on the blade. I'd say it feels a little bit smoother than what I felt on the first one, and 3 is a little blunter as well. So we had one that was a little different on the thickness of the spine, and we had one that seemed to be sharpest at the outset. Now we'll begin seeing if we can take some better measurements and do some more reproducible, more objective sharpness testing. Hope you guys are looking forward to it. Stay tuned for more of the same.